Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're getting up close and personal with a creature everyone thinks they know, the lion.
The king of the jungle, right?
Exactly. But you sent in a ton of articles about lions, their behavior, how their society works, all the conservation challenges, and believe me, we're going way beyond the basics today. You're going to look at lions in a whole new light.
I think you'll be surprised, really surprised, by just how much more there is to lions than just that image of them being fierce predators. When you
Sure.
look at them from a social perspective, especially compared to other big cats, they're fascinating.
See, that's what has me so fascinated. It's like lions are the social butterflies of the savannah, which you wouldn't expect. This whole pride structure, it's a masterclass in cooperation.
Mm.
You don't really think about that when you picture a tiger, like stalking through the jungle alone. So what's the big advantage? Why is this whole living in a group thing so beneficial for lions?
You hit the nail on the head there. It really boils down to survival, but in a way you might not expect. When you're hunting on your own, like a lot of solitary predators, you're limited. You're only as strong, as stealthy as you are. But lions, they figured out, hey, teamwork makes the dream work, especially when you're trying to take down prey way bigger than you are. That cooperation is essential.
And it's the females who are calling the shots, which I gotta say, talk about girl power. Reading about the lionesses and their hunting strategies, I was blown away. It's like they have this whole system down pat. It made me realize they aren't just hunters, they're strategic masterminds.
100%. You see incredible coordination, communication in their hunts. Picture this. They'll often spread out like a fan and they'll drive the prey towards other lionesses who are hidden, just waiting in ambush. They use the terrain to their advantage. It's amazing and so different from that lone wolf image, and it works.
And then, on top of that, there's the whole childcare aspect. Sharing the responsibility, even nursing cubs that aren't their own, which again, not your typical house cat behavior. What really surprised me was that they actually share the responsibility.
And that right there, that's another perfect example of how this whole cooperation thing translates into better survival. Shared childcare means more cubs are protected, more cubs are getting fed, and that just ups their chances of getting through those first few fragile months. Although, as we'll get into later on, being a lion cub is far from easy.
Okay, now you've got me really curious about what you meant about lion cub life not being easy. But before we get to the cubs, we have to talk about the other half of the pride, the male lions. So I got to be honest, reading these articles, I got this hilarious image in my head of male lions. Like they're the strong, silent type, but maybe just a tad too silent when it comes to, actually helping out.
They've got that reputation.
Right. Like they're not exactly pitching in for childcare duty or joining those incredible hunts the females pull off. So what's the deal with the males? What's their main role in the pride?
You're not wrong, they definitely have a different role. They're all about territory defense, which, when you think about it, is a pretty important job. It's their job to fend off rivals and make sure the pride has access to the best hunting grounds, the prime real estate where the food's plentiful.
Makes sense. They're like the savannah's bouncers. Nobody gets past them. But then things take a bit of a dark turn because the articles all mention this whole pride takeover thing. And that's where, well, it gets kind of intense in the lion world.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's definitely a complicated and often brutal aspect of lion society. When a new group of males takes over a pride, well, it kind of throws the whole social order into chaos, and that often leads to some tough consequences, like infanticide.
That's what really got me. Even knowing it's a natural behavior, it's just hard to wrap your head around. So walk me through this. From a lion's perspective, why would a new male want to kill existing cubs? It seems counterintuitive.
It's all about passing on their genes. It's harsh, but from an evolutionary standpoint, that's the name of the game. By eliminating the offspring of the previous males, the new males, they trigger a biological response in the females. Basically, it brings them back into heat faster, which means they can mate and have cubs that carry the new male's genes.
So it's like a biological reset button in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Wow. Makes you wonder if this sort of thing happens in other species or if lions are kind of in a league of their own.
Infanticide, while definitely disturbing to us, it's not unique to lions. You see it in other species too, especially ones with a similar social structure, where males compete for control of a group of females. It's a good reminder that nature isn't always pretty. Survival, whether it's of an individual or the whole species, that's what drives a lot of this behavior.
Okay, so we've covered some pretty heavy stuff. Hunting strategies, these intense battles for territory, even infanticide. So how about we lighten the mood a bit and talk about the cubs? Because who doesn't love those adorable little fluff balls, right? I mean, they are ridiculously cute. But Like you were saying earlier, life as a lion cub is no walk in the park. The articles all said that their survival rate is, well, pretty shocking, actually. Why is it so hard for these little guys to make it?
You've got the whole pride looking out for them, sure, but those first few months are tough. Think about it. They're born blind, totally helpless, dependent on their mothers for everything.
Right, right.
And even with all that protection, the threats are everywhere. Predators, not enough food, even those pride takeovers we were talking about, that's a big one.
It really makes you appreciate just how tough it is out there.
Yeah.
And then on top of all those natural challenges, there's us, humans, and that whole conservation issue. These articles did not paint a rosy picture of how lion populations are doing.
It's a serious situation, and it comes down to humans, our impact. Probably the biggest factor is habitat loss. Basically, as the human population grows, we're taking over more and more of their space.
More farmland, more development.
Exactly. More roads, more fences. Every bit of that takes away from the land lions need to roam, to hunt. Their kingdom's shrinking, and we're the ones building the walls.
It's like we're playing a game of Risk on their territory, and they never even got a turn. And then you add poaching on top of that, this awful demand for lion parts on the black market. It just feels so wrong.
It's a whole other level, and the effects are far-reaching. They're targeted for their bones, teeth, claws,
Really?
all sorts of things that end up feeding this awful trade, often for like traditional medicines or status symbols. Hard to believe.
It is. Okay, so we've talked about the problems, the challenges, but now I got to ask, what can we actually do? It's easy to feel helpless, like our choices won't make a difference with a problem this big.
I get that. But even the smallest actions, they all have a ripple effect. Supporting those organizations that are out there on the front lines, doing the conservation work, that is crucial. These are the groups protecting habitats, fighting poaching, finding ways for lions and humans to coexist.
So finding those organizations that are really making a difference.
Yeah.
Doing our homework.
Absolutely. And it's not always about money. Awareness, education, that's huge. Even just talking about it, advocating for change, we can all do our part to change the conversation, demand better for these animals.
You know, this deep dive has been eye-opening. We started with this image of lions, these majestic creatures, kings of the jungle, and we uncovered so much more. These intricate societies, the power of the lionesses, how rough it is to survive in the wild, and then the threats they face because of us.
It's a lot to take in. But even with all that, there is hope. More and more people are aware of these challenges, and there are some truly dedicated people and organizations out there fighting for these animals. They're working to make sure lions have a future.
It really makes you think. If we lose lions, we're not just losing some cool animal. We're losing a piece of a delicate balance that's taken nature thousands, millions of years to create. And what does that mean for the savannah, for the planet, for us? Something to ponder, right? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of lions. It's a conversation that needs to continue.